Hello, happy Thursday out there, Seminoles. It's been a pretty rainy day as we look onto our sky cam. Over Dokiel Stadium, you can really see some of the cloudy conditions. It's also indicative of some of that rain I saw earlier, even some thunderstorms in the region. So definitely keep an eye out. Looking out those fall leaves, definitely not feeling it. 80 degrees in Tallahassee, pretty rainy. 77 in Quincy, 81 in Thomasville, some scattered rain and some sunshine about. Honestly, more reminiscent of a September, August day than October. So for our radar, some of those showers have died out in our region, but really pretty heavy out to northwest on I-10. So overall, do expect that to continue. And then same thing for Florida, Central Florida and North Florida, that stationary boundary will continue to produce. So going for headlines, Hurricane Delta will make landfall tomorrow afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms across the Big Bend and rain chances will start to lessen by Monday. So now, that's all. We're going to head over to the desk.
Good evening, Tallahassee. Welcome to Thursday, October 8th edition of FSU Weather. I am student meteorologist Parker Beasley, and we are currently tracking the tropics as well as a few scattered rain showers here in the Big Bend region. Now, I want to start off with a fact that came from Jake Karstens on Twitter. You can give him a follow. He is a PhD candidate student here at FSU for a grad school here. So the last 5 Atlantic storms to reach major hurricane status were Dorian, if you remember, back in 2018 when it bashed the Bahamas, Florence back in 2018 when it hit South Carolina and parts of North Carolina, Maria in 17 that hit Puerto Rico, and Irma in 2017, which actually became a Category 3 times over the course of its path. If you remember, it hit Puerto Rico, then it interacted with Cuba, then to the Florida Keys, and eventually came up through the peninsula of Florida. And then lastly, Hurricane Ike back in 2008. So Hurricane Delta out there in the Gulf of Mexico, currently Cat 3 status. It has 115 mile per hour winds and it has gusts up to 140 miles per hour. So the Louisiana coastline, along with parts of Mississippi and Texas, are taking their last precautions and last preparations right now. As you saw in an earlier graphic, it is expected to make landfall sometime tomorrow evening into Saturday morning. Okay, now let's take a little step back. We'll go into this day in weather history. In 1901, Galveston, Texas, if you remember, they had a renowned hurricane hit there in 1900. Only 13 months later did they have a flooding event that flooded the entire city. They received nearly 12 inches of rain in a roughly 6-hour period. So they had a hurricane that came through just only a year earlier, and then they had a major flooding event. So that's what happened on this day, October 8th, in weather history. I'm going to go ahead and send things over to David right now with a look at the local and check out what's going on around Tallahassee right now.
Yeah, Parker, it's actually been cloudy today with scattered showers about the Big Bend area due to a frontal system, a stationary front that is draped over North Florida and parts of the southeast. Currently here in Tallahassee is 80 degrees under cloudy skies, as you can see from the live look at Doak Campbell Stadium. So how about these temperatures around the Big Bend area? Well, they range from 76 degrees up in Donaldsonville to 88 down St. Mark's. So if you have cloud cover, your temperature is going to be a little bit lower, like they are, around Quincy at 77 compared to maybe St. Mark's that doesn't have as much cloud cover. And as you can see here on the radar, where the clouds are, you can see where the showers are over here near Bluntstown along the I-10 corridor. Showers moving generally from the south to the north currently, and some of these have washed out over here near Tallahassee. They've washed out and dissipated for now. And we got some showers down here southeast of Perry. Over the next 24 hours, you can expect a mix of clouds and showers throughout the Big Bend area. You see these showers moving from southeast to the northwest generally, and they'll continue for the next couple of days. Our weekend, we will have elevated chances of rain. Tonight's lows around the Big Bend area, you can see anywhere from the mid-70s to the upper 70s as you get closer to the coast. Basically, pretty much in the mid-70s all around the Big Bend tonight. Tomorrow's highs anywhere from the mid to low 80s due to increased cloud cover associated with the front, and also moisture being sort of drawn out of Hurricane Delta in our direction. But Hurricane Delta will not be affecting us directly. It will be indirect impacts as it moves very far west of us and off to the north-northeast. Tonight in Tally, expect scattered thunderstorms with a low of 74, winds calm. And tomorrow's forecast, expect a high of 84. Unfortunately, there are going to be plenty of showers and storms in the area, so you might want to bring your umbrella. Next 7 days, like I said, chances of rain go up to 70% on Friday, and then Saturday for a football game. Our football game's up in Indiana, so rain's not going to affect our game because we're away. But as you go through the rest of the week, the sun does come back out again as you get to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and its temperatures return to the mid-80s, eventually in the low 80s. So what's going on in the southeast, Hayden?
Nothing too much. Same thing that we're experiencing in the Tallahassee region, so pretty moist conditions. So over in Tallahassee, you can see that ring around that stationary boundary, and then as we head further west towards Louisiana, you can kind of start to see the remnant, or the upcoming rain bands of Hurricane Delta, and there will be some flash flooding concerns up in our southeast, especially for those just impacted by the hurricane, so do keep an eye out there. So for Key West and Miami, it is looking pretty good out there today. Same thing with West Palm Beach, nothing too much. Do keep an eye out though. There's some heavy thunderstorms around Lake Placid and such. And so for our current local temps, it is going to be 80 in Tallahassee due to some of the cloud cover. And look at that, 92 in Tampa. It is very warm, very humid, very reminiscent of summer. And even the southeast, 83 in Montgomery, 80 in Atlanta, 81 in Charlotte. So 80s and 90s can be found even across our central areas by Texas as well. So for the dew points, we had those high dew points going along with that heat. And that means it is very muggy. And you have a kind of a heat index, which is a little shocking this time of year. 76 Tallahassee, Orlando 68, Tampa 67. And as we head up into the upper, you still get the idea that it's a little bit drier, 64 Montgomery, 59 in Atlanta, but 59 is still a relatively moist profile, especially for this time of year in October. So based off our winds, we kind of have a smattering of winds about mostly north of the stationary front and coming out of the east, south of it, and we can expect that to continue. So any thunderstorms will die out for the Tallahassee area. Central Florida and South Florida will continue to see a very moist profile. And then I don't even need to point out the elephant in the room. You can kind of see Laura did come through the air, but this is now Delta coming through with quite the hurricane signature. Should weaken by the northern areas of the southeast, but something to keep an eye out, especially if you don't have any neighbors in Louisiana. So for tonight's lows, very humid and warm in the southeast. And then once you get north that stationary front by a ways, it cools off a little bit, but still relatively seasonable for this time of the year in the southeast. So for tomorrow's forecast, much of the same. Very mild across the board, with New Orleans and Shreveport feeling the impacts of Hurricane Delta, so it'll be a little bit cooler. And the southeast will continue to be pretty mild and hot in Florida if you want your general layout for your forecast. Also keep in mind some of the Appalachian areas too. So if you want to see some fall foliage, that might be a good spot to go to. Up around Charlotte and Boone, North Carolina, Appalachian State, very cool school. So now we're going to bring off to Parker, see what he has to say.
Okay. All right, we're going to be tracking the tropics. This is the FSU Weather Hurricane Center edition of your coverage for Hurricane Delta and other storms to come this season. So look at that right there. Right here, Hurricane Delta. You can start to see an eye start to develop, but if we zoom in here, we'll actually see that, you know, this could be an eye wall replacement cycle going on. The diameter is not too big, which usually indicates strengthening. I know yesterday was 4 nautical miles in diameter. That's what we call a pinhole in terms of a hurricane. So you have this band of rain sort of making it out. It's that darker shade of red. So I think it might be going under an eye wall replacement cycle in the next few hours or so. So possibly some weakening, but you know, it's hard to tell right now. We're only about 24 hours away from landfall. The spaghetti models showing the track right here, all of them in consensus going up through Lake Charles, just like a hurricane did earlier this year, Hurricane Laura. That was a Category 4 at landfall. So the spaghetti models are in are in consensus there, and of course the NHC reflects that. We have Friday 125 mile per hour winds, and then eventually still a Cat 3 hurricane by landfall, 125 mile per hour winds on Friday, nearing the afternoon towards the overnight hours of Saturday. Eventually it makes its way over northeast, possibly bringing some rain to the Tallahassee region towards some of the southeast, as well as Hayden pointed out earlier. Here's Hurricane Delta's projected path. We do have watches and warnings in effect. We have a hurricane warning, all in pink right here, from I-49 all the way westward into the western parts of Louisiana, and then a tropical storm watch and warning in the lighter shaded red here, well, in the shaded red here, just behind me. So those watches and warnings are in effect for the next several hours. Here's a rainfall forecast within the next few days or so regarding the rainfall that's going to be coming from Hurricane Delta, 7 to 10 inches near Alexandria. They received a bunch of rainfall from Hurricane Laura earlier this year, like I said. So basically the same path that we saw just a couple months ago. So this area is going to be hit really hard once again. Winds coming in left and right around that 100 mile per hour mark, and then rains coming down at around 10 inches. Let's not forget about the storm surge that's going to be impacting this area all along the coastline. Some graphics have showed up to 10 feet of storm surge. That just depends on where you're located within the eye or within the center of the storm. If you're off to the east, you're going to receive more landfall because, or more, someone help me out here, what is it? Storm surge, there we go, brain fart. You're going to receive more storm surge because you have winds in that counterclockwise rotation. So you're going to have pushing and upwelling on the eastern side and then downwelling and pushing away on the western side of the storm. So again, Hurricane Laura made landfall not too long ago here in this region, but Hurricane Delta expected to make landfall sometime within the next 24 to 48 hours or so. We're going to go and take a look at the national forecast with David. How's that looking there, bud?
Well, Parker, a lot of other parts of the country look a lot better than what's going on near Louisiana. Out here, out west, you can see that there is high pressure in place over California and Nevada area, and also down here in Arizona and Mexico area. So it's nice and sunny, low dew points out here. They are still dealing with wildfires. I believe in the forecast there's actually going to be some moisture that comes off of the Pacific here eventually with a low pressure system, and hopefully that will relieve some of the, help them with the efforts of putting out those fires. In the middle of the country we have a low pressure system with a warm front going to the north here, and down here we just have this stationary front that's not going anywhere soon, and it's going to supply us with a rainy weekend, unfortunately. And eventually Hurricane Delta will kind of bring some of the, move some of this stuff out, take it with her, him, whoever you want to call him, and hopefully we'll clear out next week and have some more sun. Up in the northeast, they have cooler weather up here under high pressure. There's winter is starting to sort of creep in from Canada and give them a taste of fall and some winter weather. And here you can see Hurricane Delta slowly making its way towards the Louisiana coast, making landfall probably tomorrow evening, sometime around 6 o'clock or so. And most of the country is actually clear under high pressure. And you see there's not much cloud cover in the Midwest, and up here in the Northwest there is some shower activity up here in the Northwest, and we'll take a closer look at that shortly. But first, let's look at North Florida here, and you can see showers and storms sort of draped across the I-10 corridor west of Tallahassee. The showers have mixed out here over the Tallahassee area, and there are some showers over here east of us down towards Live Oak and Perry. And we're going to take now a look at Louisiana, and you can see the showers. The outer bands of Delta are starting to bring moisture and showers and storms into the Louisiana region. That's going to intensify over the next 24 hours as it approaches the coast. And here is Hurricane Delta making its way up. You can see an eye forming here. I think it's going through an eye wall reconstruction, as Parker was saying earlier, and slowly moving towards the north at I think it's 12 miles per hour, and probably won't intensify too much more, but a Category 3 is a strong storm. It is forecast to weaken some as it approaches the coast. And here is the Northwest, and you see There is some cloud cover from an upper level low pressure system that is moving in. You see some showers up here north of the border. So temperatures around the nation currently, you see 67 up here in Minneapolis. And as you go down towards the south, you come to the mid 80s. And out west in California, you see some low and mid 60s out there. It actually looks kind of comfortable. Dew points are low out west. You see 19 and 24. And over here in the southeast, yeah, we're in the muggies right now, but that'll change over the next couple weeks, and you got dry air too in the northeast. Future radar mostly clear across the country, except for down here in the southeast dealing with Hurricane Delta. And tonight's lows across the country, 46. And as you go down towards Texas, 68. And over here in the southeast in the 70s. And tomorrow's highs, pretty comfortable up in the northeast in the low to mid 70s. As you come further south there, you get into more humid air where you get into the 80s. And now I'm going to hand it off to Parker to take a look at the local weather. What's it looking like, Parker?
Yeah, thank you, David. So it's much of the same story here in Tallahassee like we've seen. Not so much the past few days, but the past few hours, it's been pretty cloudy outside. Winds out of the west-northwest at 3 miles per hour. Doak Campbell Stadium looking gloomy. As we said earlier, we have an away game, but tomorrow or Saturday would probably look gloomy as well after we play Notre Dame. So nothing too much to look forward there. I see Aiden laughing over there at the desk. Here's our hour-by-hour forecast for tomorrow. We're going to be waking up at 76 degrees, 79 at 9 a.m. So if you do have those a.m. classes, it's going to be a little bit chilly, but fairly comfortable. Still a little bit muggy, just like it was this afternoon. But by 12 p.m., our high is going to be 87 degrees, and then we'll be cooling off towards 80 at around 5 p.m. Our current local temps right now are, not too comfortable, not too bad. 79 in Valdosta, but I mean, look at the outlier on the map, 88 in St. Mark's. That's pretty hot, along with that muggy dew point of around 75 or so. Sumatra at 85, Apalachicola at 80 degrees right now. Tallahassee also sitting at 80 degrees. Look at that, I nailed it. 75 St. Mark's for your dew point, 72 in Valdosta, all around the Big Bend region, sitting in the mid to upper 70s. So, we've had some frontal rain come through with that stationary front that we talked about earlier. That has those dew points spiking up right now because we did receive some rain. So we have a little bit of moisture left over that's still trying to convect just a little bit within the atmosphere, bringing us possibly some more rain showers throughout the region. 78 for your dew point down there in Apalachicola. It's absolutely dreadful. So here's our radar right now. I've got rain basically west of Tallahassee, and that's it. That's associated with that stationary front that we were talking about. You can see some outflow boundaries out here. You see this little band of energy. Follow my finger right here. A little band of energy right there. That's what we call an outflow boundary. It's basically just leftover energy from a storm. So if we had more sea breeze coming in this way, we'd see another outflow boundary. You can actually kind of see one way down here. But if those two were to collide, we'd have some more pop-up showers within the region around St. Mark's and Apalachicola. But we're unlikely to see that considering the sun is going down. If we zoom out to the bigger picture, we see rain scattered all across I-10 and then all the way down to I-75 into central Florida and parts of southern Florida. That east coast and west coast sea breeze doing its thing like it does every single day down there, clashing at the I-4 corridor and I-75 corridor and just creating a big rain mess down there in Florida. You can also see some of those bands start to come in from Hurricane Delta, but here's our future radar for the next day or so. Cloudy like it was today, not too much going on, but by Friday, by tomorrow, 3 p.m., we're going to see an enhanced chance for some scattered thunderstorms within the region. If we continue to play it out, those will move through from the southeast towards the northwest throughout the day and into the evening hours. For tonight in Tallahassee, though, 74 degrees with scattered thunderstorms as a potential. Not ruling them out, but I don't think they're very likely right now. Winds calm, again out of the west-northwest at 3 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, our high is 84 degrees with scattered thunderstorms. Once again, those will be after 3 p.m. I don't expect any before 3, but around 3 to 6, much like we saw today, and then it'll start to tremble off throughout the evening. Winds out of the southeast at 9 miles per hour. And here's a look at your week ahead. Friday, tomorrow, 70% chance of rain, 60% chance of rain on Saturday. Again, that kickoff at 7:30 against Notre Dame. That is an away game. But Sunday, a 50% chance of rain, And then look at that, we cool down a little bit throughout early next week, and our temperature is in the lower 80s, and our low temps are in the lower 60s. Hayden is currently sitting at the desk. What do you think of that 7-day, bud?
Yeah, it looks manageable. It's not the best, but it can pass. We'll survive. The weather is not the best right now is if you're heading towards Cameron, Louisiana, or Lake Charles. Unfortunately, Delta, major hurricane Delta has taken a track that's within 12 miles of the forecast as of now between where Hurricane Laura hit. So we're hoping they're okay. And if you have a compromised infrastructure from where the previous hurricane hit, please evacuate, stay safe with COVID, and we'll get through there. So obviously this segment is going to be attributed to having their safety. So right now it has been bumped up and expected to make landfall around 115 to 120 miles per hour. So that will be a major hurricane. And I don't really want to focus on the winds because in a hurricane you have the eye wall and it can be quite small sometimes where the strongest winds are, and that's really the impact. However, this big system that's kind of spread out in the Gulf, that is pushing all this water up into the bays. Lafayette is actually going to be on the northeast side of it. And there's going to be quite a bit of storage coming into this canal. So, the bayous. So you definitely want to be cognizant of that. And then additionally, we have another wave that came off Africa. The Hurricane Center is giving a 20% chance of development. We don't really expect to, it may develop because there is a chance by the Hurricane Center. But when it approaches the Leeward Islands and Antilles, it looks like there will be some wind shear to contend with. So hopefully this is the last cast of hurricane season, and we can just say goodbye to it. But we'll be there to keep your forecast no matter what. The main thing is just to get by Thursday and tomorrow for the Louisiana neighbors. And then we'll take it from there. That's how this whole year is. You kind of just take it day by day, and each day you're there, it's a good day. And so now we're going to bring it off to David for his wall.
Thank you, Hayden. Yeah, I want to take another look at Hurricane Delta as it's churning away towards the north, towards the Louisiana coast. You see clearly here that there's actually an eye trying to form here in Delta. Currently, the storm has winds of 115 miles per hour with central pressure of 959 millibars, and it's moving off to the north-northwest at about 12 miles per hour. It's going to actually make a turn to the north-northeast eventually in response to a trough that is going to dig down into the southeast over the next couple of days. Let's take a closer look at this eye. It looks like it's going through a reconstruction period here. It may be weakening or just stable. It might be just maintaining itself. Currently, it's not expected to strengthen much more. It is currently a Category 3. And it is forecast to actually weaken a little bit before it makes landfall, which is good because you have less wind damage, and the storm surge may not be as bad, but it's going to be bad. So if you're in an evacuation area, yeah, definitely be out of there. You should be leaving probably now. So, but currently it is Category 3, and the spaghetti models show it. A very good consensus with the spaghetti model showing the storm coming up here into Louisiana, western part of Louisiana, kind of the same place where Hurricane Laura landed this year, and so people are still trying to recover. It's not a good thing, but hopefully this is the last storm we talk about this hurricane season. And here's the projected path beyond Louisiana. You can see it makes its way up towards Louisiana, across and up towards the northeast into the Tennessee Valley, where they probably get some rain up there in the mountains, and here is the tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings. The hurricane warning is in pink. You can see it takes a big area up here, all south of Alexandria, towards the coast. And we have tropical storm warnings surrounding that, well inland towards, I-20? Yeah, actually I-20. So there are tropical storm warnings well inland. So make sure you have your shutters up and prepared for this storm. And here's the forecasted rainfall totals. 7 to 10 inches, a 7 to 10 inch swath down through pretty much central Louisiana, and over here to the east, 2 to 4 inches in parts of Mississippi. And now I'm going to hand it off to Hayden, and he's going to talk about the local weather one more time.
Yep, we'll take our final gasp at Tallahassee, the beautiful TLH. So far, right now, currently is 80 degrees. Light winds west-northwest, as we've talked about numerous times. So today, you can kind of see that the high of 87. It was very warm out there, no doubt about that. Even looking at, even the low is high, 76. I mean, that is just unprecedented. That is screaming August and July to me. And it's truly crazy, but when you have a hurricane, a cyclone, it can really just bring in that moisture. So for our forecast right now, the storms have cleared up in the region, and there's just some outflow boundaries pushing up into our North Georgia areas. Nothing too crazy. And then also some down by Gainesville, which I don't feel sorry about. So for Central Florida too, we'll just have to keep an eye out, but our main focus will continue to be in our southeast regions as these bands will continue to fill in with that hurricane. So for our future casts, any thunderstorms will start to we'll start over again with another band, probably to our east, but it's too far out to say, so there is a chance of thunderstorms, and that's reflected in our forecast here. 84, good chance of seeing some rain, including up into Georgia, and especially down to Apalachicola in that humid Gulf of Mexico. So the big game, Notre Dame. The weather is going to be pleasant. Hopefully the game's the same. Who knows? So it's going to be pretty warm for Indiana standards, being the 60s. So hopefully our guys get invigorated by the weather, and we can play a good football game for once. So for Saturday, Sunday, we will continue to stay 80s and humid. And then as we get later on to the week, we will continue to dry off. And those temperatures will actually reach 63 on Thursday. Feeling very great. So now we're going to pass it off to our closing desk for our show.
Yeah, thank you, Hayden. That 7-day looked, not too good within the next 3 days or so, but early next week, to start your work week, we're capping off around the 85-degree mark and then slowly getting into the 60s throughout the rest of the week. Now, I want to talk about something that I didn't mention earlier, but it's hurricane season. We still have roughly 2 months left in hurricane season. It ends November 31st, or November 30th, sorry. There's another disturbance out there in the Atlantic. It's got a 20% chance of development within the next 5 days. We'll keep an eye on that next week on FSU weather. But there's a week ahead for you. Kickoff on Saturday again at 7:30 at Notre Dame. 83 is your forecast here in Tallahassee. That's your forecast high. Waking up at 73 degrees on Saturday morning. So if you have plans to go out and tailgate somewhere or watch the game at a friend's house, it doesn't look too pleasant out there with your rain chances nearing 60%. Again, for this day in weather history, we had snow reported in New England. They got 2 inches in the AM hours, but by mid-afternoon, they were at 80 degrees, if you can believe that turnaround. They had a rapid warm front go through that area. So again, October 8th, 1988, 2 inches in Vermont, and they were up to 80 degrees by the mid-afternoon. 1989, the next year, we had lows in the 20s in the Northern Plains. Great Lakes, we're at 22 degrees in Oakland, California. Temperatures nearing 100 degrees. You can go ahead and like us on Facebook at FSU Weather, and you can watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/FSU Weather. Go ahead and drop us a follow on Instagram at FSU Weather. We love to see your sunset pictures, your sunrise pictures, anything related to weather here at FSU Weather. So the hurricane season is yet to end. We're still very, very active, unfortunately, but hopefully that ends rather soon. For all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Parker Beasley. Have a fantastic evening.